The Zilliqa price in the last 2 days has shot up a whopping 136%. Can we see further upside action from Zilliqa? Is it still a strong buy, or should we be wary of what is about to happen to the Zilliqa price? Let's dive in and find out. So guys, first of all, for the Zilliqa price, I want to look at the weekly chart. What you can see around this time, or just after this time last year, we hit these astronomical highs up here at around 0.25, but we then saw this sort of massive dump towards the downside, and we did look like we were going to return and rally back, but then saw further slippage below. And that's mainly because of what was happening across the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything else had a big push towards the upside, and smaller market cap coins like Zilliqa also kind of followed on with that trajectory. But because they have smaller market caps, it doesn't take so much money to move them in such aggressive manners, and that's why we increased from around 0.016 to around 0.25 in really not very long at all. Again, we then saw Bitcoin topping out around these levels, coming back down and pushing back up, but we saw Bitcoin making a stronger recovery. Now, if you've been following Zilliqa for a while, you'll understand that the background team surrounding Zilliqa is super strong. They have a blockchain that could potentially be able to rival Ethereum and others in the future. And now with news of Zilliqa powered metaverses and other things like this is really starting to fuel the fire for the Zilliqa price. You can see that as we entered the downtrend, we consistently found lower highs at these levels and continued to be pushed back down. But ultimately we found support, and even though the lows were dropping to lower prices each time, eventually bottoming out here at just over 3 cents, this particular pattern, which is a falling wedge, more often than not will break towards the upside. And that's because, guys, the price is getting squeezed lower and lower. Eventually someone's going to decide that it's a good value asset and it's worth buying. And the reason we've had such a spike towards the upside is no one's really been paying attention to Zilliqa, and we've had a lot of good news suddenly pile in about this asset that everyone had perhaps forgotten about from earlier on in the year, where it is promised to be the next big thing. Now you can see right now on the weekly we come into a bit of a resistance zone, which is in line with this area here, which we hit back on the 25th of October. You'll see that before, when we had this high, we came and had a swing down, touching this level before as well as previously breaking through and coming back to test this level. So this right now is a very key level on the Zilliqa price chart. I also want to use the Fibonacci tool, guys, from the top down to the swing low back just a few weeks ago, and you can see something significant happening on the 0.3, where we've been rejected here and we're starting to retrace a little bit. Now ultimately, guys, I never advise jumping onto moving trains, and what I mean by that is if you can see a breakout happening and you get onto it nice and early, guys, then great, you might be able to ride these sort of waves towards the upside. But ultimately, what we do when we move super aggressively towards the upside is we tend to come back down for a retest. On the same, guys, we move aggressively downwards, we'll tend to come up and retest as well. It's all about finding these lines of resistance, what we're currently hitting, and flipping them and turning them into support. Ultimately, right now, we're finding significant resistance at this level, and that's no shock because of these key levels here. What I anticipate perhaps happening for the Zilliqa price, bearing in mind this here is again a clear line of resistance from the past, is that coming back down to retest around these levels. Now that would give us an opportunity to buy currently at a price around 25% cheaper than we currently are at. The danger of coming into a move like this, guys, you can get absolutely roasted if you buy in at this price and you get 25% off and it knocks you back 25%. That's called FOMOing into crypto, and we never want to FOMO into crypto because there's always another chance, guys. Even when you have these super aggressive rallies towards the upside like we saw before, you can see it comes up, bounces back down, comes up, bounces back down. So what we're looking at right now is a really exciting move for the Zilliqa price, but I'm anticipating a move back down here. This for me is the perfect buy zone for Zilliqa. This is a price at which I'm looking to load up, because what we'll then likely see is a further continuation to test the next line of resistance all the way up here at 0.145. And realistically, if you take that move from a potential price down here, that's another 68% move. So it's about having a bit of patience, guys, not jumping onto these moving trains. But you know, sometimes it does break in vertical lines. And if it does that and it gets to here, eventually it's going to come back and have a retest. If it comes all the way up here and retests back here, this is where I'm going to buy. Okay, so I'm always waiting to come back for a retest, because even if I miss all this move, there's always another crypto and another day to be able to make that money in, rather than buying the tops and potentially risking this downside action. My strategy, guys, is always trying to maximize my profits and minimize my risks, as it should be with you. And I know when you see prices moving and you've been looking at CoinGecko and it's been rising 70-80% a day, you get the FOMO because you want to make 70 or 80% a day, and don't get me wrong, so do I. That's where we want to be careful. Watch out for what's happening with the Zilliqa price. In my opinion, jumping into the 15-minute chart, you can see that we did come up above this red line and we've retested it and kind of trickled along. And now we have been rejected here. It may well be that we push up beyond, but right now I'm sort of starting that we might see a bit of consolidation before another push and a retest here. So ultimately, that's what I'm waiting for, guys. If we break beyond here, I'm waiting for a push towards this side and then turn this previous line of resistance here and flip it into support. If we can do that and have closes on the 4 hours above here, that's where I'm looking to buy as soon as we come back for the retest. Okay, guys, if you've been holding Zilliqa for a long time, let me know when you got in down below. It's been a bit of a boring, slow grind for Zilliqa, but things are looking very positive indeed. Even if we come for a retest, I'm still very bullish on the Zilliqa price. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend, guys, and I will see you again soon with another video. Bye-bye.